This is the story I never told anyone. Why? Because it's quite embarrassing. A few months ago in the sub-zero winter, Bobby was driving the Legacy, which we all like to call the L. The car started overheating. I began searching for a motor immediately and found one alongside a transmission a few miles away from my house. Grabbed the leak down tester, jumped in my truck, and was on my way. Arriving at the seller's location, I was astonished. The dude had like 50 cars laying around his property, motors buried in the snow, tools scattered about his field. I had never seen anything like it in my life. He left it up to me to pull the motor on the parts car. Thankfully, he was kind enough to help me get the car on his lift. After the test showed 100% leak down on the passenger side head, I gave him a few bucks for the setup and was on my way home. As soon as I got home, I got right to work ripping this new motor apart, trying to figure out the cause of the leak down. Pulled the intake manifold off, pulled the whole timing kit off, pulled off the valve covers, removed the heads. And just as I had expected, all of the intake valves on the passenger side head were bent. The short block was in excellent condition, just as I had hoped. I spent the next few hours, even maybe the next few days, cleaning everything, getting all of these motor parts prepped. The stuff was disgusting. I could not believe how dirty this car was. After that, it was on to removing the old motor and transmission out of Bobby's car. Thankfully, I had done this a million times already, it seemed, so it only took about 2 hours to get the motor and transmission out. After that, I was on to getting these valves swapped out. Thankfully, that guy gave me a complete set of heads, but they were the wrong heads, so I pulled the valves out of those and put them in the new heads. Valves were the same, just had to get them lapped in so everything seated properly. This is definitely the cheap way to do it. I spent the next few minutes checking over all the valve clearances, getting everything in spec. Next, it was on to building the motor. The short block was in excellent condition, so all I did was clean it up, clean up the gasket surfaces, and throw the heads on. Being that it was a single overhead cam motor, everything was so easy to install. The timing only took about 10 minutes to do. Had to clean up the shop a little bit, and now we are ready to throw the motor in the car. For me, putting the motor in the car is the fun part. I always enjoy installing motors. Hearing them run for the first time is oh so satisfying. All in all, I replaced the transmission, rebuilt the top end of the motor, got everything in the car in about a week. It only costed me about $300 because I sourced everything used, got gaskets off eBay, and rebuilt the heads myself. And I never told you guys why this happened, all because I was too cheap to put new coolant in the motor. The old coolant was diluted way too strongly with water, and as soon as the temperature dropped below 0 degrees, I'm assuming it cracked the block. Make sure you stay tuned for tomorrow's video. We're going to be tearing into this old motor, hoping for some major carnage in there, so it makes for a very good video. Lesson learned here, guys, do not cheap out on your coolant. It's a very expensive issue. Thankfully for me, it was not expensive money-wise, but it did cost me a ton of time. So if you are buying a used car, make sure you go ahead, swap out the coolant along with your oil change. It's going to cost you about $20 up front, but it's going to save you the biggest headache of your life down the road.